The digital landscape is a dynamic space where identities are negotiated, ideas are exchanged, and communities are formed. And amidst this accelerating activity, a unique participatory phenomenon emerges. Groups engaging in scanlation, the process of scanning, translating, and distributing comic media material online, have surfaced as dynamic network publics, facilitating the global dissemination of comic media. Concurrently, Turkey's youth, constrained by censorship and limited purchasing power, has also increasingly turned to online localization of manga, which has led to a proliferation of scanlation groups and works on the Turkish internet. This thesis focuses on these Turkish BL scanlation groups, revealing how they offer queer youth representation and a sense of belonging in a society marked by growing censorship and repression. The central question driving this research can be outlined as: to what extent do Turkish scanlation groups operate as network publics in facilitating the empowerment of young queer existence amidst authoritarian practices? Expanding on this main question, this study explores how Turkish scanlation groups establish themselves as network counterpublics, carving out alternative spaces where marginalized voices can thrive and resist oppressive structures. For this examination, a methodological approach grounded in virtual ethnography is employed, and findings obtained through participant observation and autoethnography are evaluated through a thematic analysis to create an overview relevant to the main question of the research. But before diving deeper into the findings of the study, it would be useful to define a few key concepts relevant to the research and explain how they relate to each other. I'd like to start with the concept of network publics and counterpublics, as it is one of the main structuring concepts of the study. Originating in the late 2000s, the term network public gained prominence through scholarly works that explored the intersection of network technologies and social behavior. So, what are network publics? According to scholars, network publics are social spaces shaped by digital media, offering new affordances such as decentralization and participatory content production. In this way, network publics transform the idea of the public sphere by extending interactions across time and geography, creating more fluid, dynamic spaces for civic and cultural engagement. These technologically enabled publics then represent not just communities came together by shared interests, but spaces that challenge traditional boundaries and power structures. This theoretical framework is a key to understand the role of fan communities in particularly contexts like Turkish BL fan translations. But before delving more into Turkish BL scanlation communities and network publics, it is also important to set an understanding of the boys' love phenomenon in general. In the realm of manga, boys' love stands as a multifaceted genre encompassing diverse narratives of male-male romances. BL manga is commonly viewed as a subgenre of shoujo, directly tied to Japanese term of young girl, representing a genre primarily targeted at young female readers. In the early 1970s, shoujo manga, which was traditionally dominated by male creators, underwent a transformation led by the Year 24 group, a group of female manga artists in their early 20s who introduced a novel aesthetic to the genre, presenting a feminine perspective on themes of love and sexuality. It can be said that out of this era, boys' love manga focusing more on male-male romances was born, and although BL is originated as a subgenre of shoujo, it has soon evolved into its own category. Pioneered by magazines like June and fueled by fan communities, BL has become a commercial and cultural force, offering readers an alternative exploration of gender and sexuality and desire. However, although BL flourishes within a predominantly female authored and consumed space, the assumption that BL is exclusively consumed by heterosexual cis women can be misleading. Scholars often point out the underdeveloped demographic research and suggest that BL communities, especially in the Anglophone West, are relatively queer. Indeed, what makes BL a truly queer media phenomenon is not necessarily its portrayal of homoerotic narratives, but rather the global counterpublic it creates that is both subversive and fundamentally queer in nature. Now that we have an understanding of the notion of network publics and the idea of BL as a global counterpublic, a clearer grasp as to how Turkish BL scanlation groups work as network counterpublics can be achieved. To analyze these groups as network counterpublics, I first started by looking at how these groups use network affordances of platforms like Discord and their websites to build public spaces. Observations revealed that groups were able to leverage the affordances of these network technologies very creatively and effectively to create organizational strategies that expedite the formation of publics. I then shifted my focus from technological dimensions to the more human aspects to see how these scanlation groups really manifest as publics. To do this, I tried to evaluate the scanlation groups based on three main aspects that make up a traditional public. First one was the shared cultural foundations and heterogeneity. Obviously, a shared passion for BL media is the foundation of cohesion in scanlation groups. However, ethnographic observations show that these groups are also diverse in demography, uniting individuals of various genders, sexualities, and ethnic backgrounds. This diversity, however, enhances the cohesion by fostering unique interpersonal relationships and encouraging constructive debates. While BL media provides a common ground, each group shapes its own values, norms, and community cultures. Second was the identity formation. Observations also revealed that these spaces aren't just for social interaction, they allow members to experiment with and express their identities. Indeed, one prominent observation was that many members experience a sense of duality, feeling freer to express aspects of their identity within the group that they may conceal in their offline real lives. It was observed that the members found these places to be valuable platforms for genuine socialization and personal growth, often more empowering than their offline spaces. And obviously, finally, being inherently participatory, it was also observed that while scanlation itself is the main practice that unites members, individuals also engage with BL media in a variety of different ways. Members offer everything from casual critiques to deeper debates on the ethical and moral aspects of BL. Additionally, they co create in multiple ways, such as creating collective artworks, sharing their craft, and teaching each other new skills. But to what extent do the scanlation groups embody the characteristics of a network counterpublic? The answer is nuanced and it depends on examining the political potential and agency of these groups. While both groups engage in politically charged discussions that are generally inclusive, deviations arise. There is also a lack of deeper political consciousness observed, which is reflected in the limited focus on meaningful agendas related to intersectionality, social justice, equity, or inclusivity. The political engagement is far from driving any real world advocacy or civic engagement. That being said, observations hint at a latent political potential. The findings of this study highlight that these groups offer far more than shallow socialization or mere entertainment for their members. In fact, they serve as dynamic arenas where marginalized queer youth in Turkey can actively negotiate their identities, navigate the complexities of identity performances, and exchange knowledge, form interpersonal connections, seek and provide support for the challenges that they face in their real lives. As Zizi Papakarisi suggests, the search for activities that are purely of a political nature runs counter to human impulse. The intertwining of politics with everyday life is evident in the context of scanlation groups and their engagement with BL media. These groups, united by a shared interest in BL media, function as network publics where ideas, often suppressed by dominant ideologies, can freely circulate, allowing young queer individuals to explore alternative imaginaries. Drawing from these observations, I argue that by blending the expansive capabilities and affordances of network technologies with the subversive nature of BL media, scanlation groups centered on BL create a unique space for liberatory social transformation. By offering a relatively free and unregulated space for queer Turkish youth to explore alternative existences and socializations, such groups, I believe, quietly but steadily catalyze a political action through transforming collective imaginations.